Welcome to Papa's Workshop. Well, by popular request, you guys overwhelmingly asked for me to be able to go ahead and carve the garden gnome sign. So today, I went ahead and did that. This is what it looks like finished. Let me show you how I did it. I did make a few changes and then carved it. So let's get started. I'm getting ready to be able to carve this sign, but I decided to be able to carve it on PVC. And I really don't want to join two pieces together. So what I'm doing is going back into my original design, and I want to look at the job dimensions. The job dimensions had this at 14 by 8 by 3/4 of an inch. Now the height of the PVC board that I have is 7 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and change this to 7 inches. Now when I do that, I do get this warning that it will be cutting all the way through the material, and that's okay because I'm going to go back and change all of my tool paths. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to eliminate this outer line. I'm going to eliminate that altogether. So I just highlight it and delete so it's gone. The next thing I want to do is take the text, and I'm going to start at the bottom right corner and just stretch up because I want to leave the gnome out right now. And I want to be able to take this information and I want to slide it out of the way for just a moment, because what I want to do is make the gnome bigger. So I'm going to highlight him, grab one of the corners, and make him a little bit bigger, and I'm going to position him in to the work area, and that's going to be a little bit too big. So we'll shrink him back down. We'll put this back where I want him. I like that. That's a pretty good spot. That gives it pretty even all the way around. Now the next thing that I want to be able to do is work on the garden, the text information. So again, I'm going to take the bottom corner, make sure that I capture everything, and now I'm going to click it one time, and that gives me the little handles where I can maneuver it. I'm going to bring that in. And this time, I want to stretch this out. I want to be able to make this a little bit larger. There we go. That actually looks pretty good. But now I have everything looking really good on the PVC material that I can carve. So now that I have my sign back situated the way that I want it, I want to go over now and select this box right here and move over to the tool paths. First thing, I don't have a profile anymore, so I can actually delete that one. And now this one I need to be able to recalculate. So as far as the information up here, I am going to start at the surface. I do not want it to carve any deeper than 0.1 of an inch down. The other information as I go down, I'm not concerned about this part. The information here for my safety for the Z, it is going to be 0.2 of an inch. XY0. Okay, so all of that is going to be good. So now I'm going to calculate my new tool paths. I want to make sure that I reset, and then I want to preview all of my tool paths, and that's what the new sign is going to look like fitting on my PVC. That is going to work great. So I'm going to go ahead and save this so that I don't lose it. And now I'm going to close out this window. And now I want to come right over here and I'm going to save the toolpath. I only have one toolpath to be able to carve now. So I'm going to select that one. And right here it says selected toolpath. And this is the V-Carve 2, which is my V-bit 90-degree half-inch. I am using my post processor through the X-Carve, which is perfectly fine. So I'm going to save the toolpath. So over here now, I want to change the name here. You can do that as well. And what I did is I typed in my Gnome garden sign 14x7 with the V 90-degree bit, and I'm going to save that. So that's now saved. Now I'm going to go ahead and set up the machine and get this ready to carve. Now the PVC board is actually just over 7 inches wide, which is fine. So I just measured down my 14 inches and made the cut. So this PVC cuts just like wood. In fact, I think it's actually easier than cutting the wood. Now I'm going to be painting this sign, so what easier way to be able to do that than to use the masking. This is the Aura Mask 813 that I'm going to use, and I'm just going to roll it out, put it on, and make sure that it's rubbed down nice and smooth and it sticks very well. Next, after that, it's time to be able to secure this project to the wasteboard, and I'm using the Starbond medium thick glue along with the Starbond accelerator. Now in the description below, I'm going to have a discount code for you so that you'll be able to save 15% off of your purchase of the Starbond glue. This glue works fantastic, and it does an excellent method to be able to hold this project to the wasteboard. Now if you haven't seen me use this method before, I do have a number of videos where I have explained in detail. But in the simplest form, we're going to put 2 pieces of tape down on the wasteboard, and then I'm going to flip over and put 2 pieces to be able to match onto the project itself. For a project like this, 2 pieces of tape is plenty. You really don't need any more. And even for projects that are larger, I typically will only use 2 and perhaps 3 pieces, and that's really it. This glue and tape method holds very well. Once all of the tape is on, I just take a little bit of the Starbond glue, and it does not take much. I'm just putting a few drops onto the tape, and with that done, I'm going to grab the accelerator and I'm going to spray the tape that's on the project. And again, it takes very little to be able to make this work. Then I'm just going to flip it over and set the project right in place. Now remember, I have those reference lines that I use to make sure that everything is square. Once I have it in place, I just push it down, and it only takes just a moment, and that glue bonds to the tape and it holds it, and it's ready to carve. It's not going to move now. I'll get everything out of the way and I'm ready to start carving. To get this project started, I'm going to zero the machine using my 3-axis touch plate. And all I need to be able to do is just plug it into my control box and then run my macros. Now this sequence doesn't take but just a couple of minutes to be able to run. And while you're there, you always want to watch the machine, because you never know what will happen. And right now, it's actually probing exactly what it needs to do, but as it comes over to this next section, that wire is not quite flexible enough, and that 3-axis does move. And I just need to be able to catch it, slide it back in place there, just to make sure that it's going to be where it needs to be for the router to be able to touch. So again, this is a good reason why you want to be near the machine at all times. Okay, I have the machine now zeroed at the X, Y, and the Z position. So the bit is exactly where it needs to be. So it's time now to be able to start the carving. And to be able to do that, I'm back at the computer and I go up here to the file and I go over to the browse. So what I'm looking for is that file. When I click on browse, I get the drop down menu, and from there I can just locate the file. And one of the things that I have found the easiest way to do it is just move that file to the desktop. And that way I can just click on it very easily and enter it into the machine. So now you can see it right there. So I am actually ready to be able to carve. One thing that I do always like to do is come over and hit that visualization. I want to see what the machine is going to be carving. That yellow bar is where the bit is located, and this is the path and the carving that's going to take place. So now that I know that everything looks right and the file's correct, it's time to be able to turn the machine on and start carving. And the final step, all I need to be able to do is hit the send and the machine will start carving. So now this takes just a very few minutes to be able to carve. I think grand total it was about 10-12 minutes to be able to carve this project. By looking at the carving, you can see that it's cutting very cleanly and the masking is holding very well in place. The only thing that I really don't like is I actually think that it's carving a little bit too deep on the gnome itself. I think the letters from the word welcome to my or your garden came out just absolutely perfect. Time for a little paint. So I went ahead and spray painted the welcome to my garden, and that's actually a dark green. And I sprayed the gnome black. That way all of the outline colors will all be black. And then from there, I'm going to go ahead and paint the inside to the different colors. Now to be able to remove the masking is actually very easy. It does peel off very easily, and then the other small parts, I just take a little small pick and just catch the edge of it, and then it peels off. Sometimes it's a little bit hard just to get that first part started, but it actually goes pretty quick once you get the hang of it. These little pieces just come right off. And now it's all done. Here's a good close-up look at the finished sign. I think the colors turned out really well. The carving looks great. The only thing I wish is that gnome maybe not quite as deep, but all in all, I like the way it's turned out. I hope you do too. Hi everyone, thank you for watching my video today. If you like the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below and the little bell next to it so you'll be notified on the different videos that I upload. Also, check out the videos over here to be able to stay up to date on the happenings in my shop. So again, thank you for watching my videos.